My Lords, yes, me again. I have been begged to keep it brief given the hour, and I'm going to do my best, but this is also a very important amendment. And if we look back to the debate in day one in the committee on the 21st of June, I haven't calculated how many hours of debate ago that was, but a lot will probably suffice. We had extensive debates about the need for people to be able to get out into the natural world, to spend time in it, to engage with it, to develop their understanding and love of it, and to deliver positive benefits for it with their time and attention. I'll just mention Amendments 8, creating targets for public access in the names of the Noble Baroness Scott of Needham Market, Amendment 9, connecting people with nature in the name of the Noble Lord Lucas, and 56, a change to the current provision in the bill to say the government must take steps to connect people with nature, also moved by the Noble Lady Baroness Scott of Needham Market. There was also Amendment 284 in my name, calling for a report on these issues. There were, I think, others, and I apologise for not making a complete list. I was surprised and a little disappointed to find that none of these reappeared in the report stage, given the importance of the issue, and that the bill already states that the government may include steps to improve people's enjoyment of the natural environment in its environmental improvement plans. We all know, my Lords, that many NGOs, campaigners and members of the public have been engaged in this debate all the way through, in ways that might not always be visible to the public, but certainly have impact in the House. And I believe that it's important, as it was on Monday night, to give due weight and hearing to their efforts, however inconvenient the hour our procedures force the debate into. I've shared with a number of noble lords, and would be delighted to share with anyone else who I might have missed, an extensive briefing on this amendment from the Right to Roam campaign, which is calling for an extension to the Countryside and Rights of Way Act in England, so that millions more people can have easy access to open space and the physical and mental benefits it's been proven to bring, as well as to enable them to bring benefits to nature from their presence. The amendment I present here is modest. It calls for a start of the debate in the form of a publication within 2 years of a draft bill. I sincerely thank the Bill Office for assisting me in its preparation, and its relatively late arrival in the report stage is entirely my own fault. A draft bill to provide for a statutory right to access for land for recreational purposes and educational activities, including building of understanding of our natural heritage and natural and cultural heritage, provided that the land is accessed responsibly in accordance with the Code of Practice, with landowners having responsibility to take reasonable action to ensure the right can be exercised. This, my Lords, is an outline based on the Scottish legislation. Now, looking back to our committee debate, I have to thank the Noble Viscount Lord Trenchard for doing some very useful research for me. He noted then that the population of density of England is 279 people per square kilometre, which is more than 4 times that of Scotland at 67 people per square kilometre, and nearly twice that of Wales at 151 people per square kilometre. Now, the Noble Viscount used that to suggest that we couldn't have the right to roam in England. I would turn this round and suggest instead those figures are a powerful argument for opening up as much of the countryside of England as possible to give those people space to breathe, space to roam. The argument is even stronger for England than it is for Scotland and Wales. Because just 1% of the population own half the land in England, a rather significant number of them in your Lordship's house, with the 99% having access to the right to roam on just 8% of the remainder. Open access land under the Countryside and Rights of Way Act is only mountains, moorland, downland, heaths and commons, and more recently the English Coastal Path. There are also rights in Forestry Commission forests. By their nature, however, these are spaces largely remote from where people live. And as many noble lords agreed in our committee debate, the noble Lord Randall of Uxbridge among them, we need far more public transport into these areas, but that's an issue for another day. But looking back over the debate in committee, I think we extensively canvassed the benefits for the public of access to nature already, so I won't go over the same ground. But I do want to raise one additional point that wasn't really discussed in committee, and that is that we know so little about the fast-changing natural world, the subject to the pressure of exotic animals and diseases, and of course our fast-changing climate. There are significant benefits to the landscape, to the environment, to nature, for having many more people in that environment. Citizen science has a growing place in growing our understanding. The RSPB's Big Garden Birdwatch is billed as the world's largest wildlife survey. How much larger and more wide-ranging it could be with the right to roam. The British Trust for Ornithology monitors the population changes of 117 breeding bird species across the UK, thanks to the dedication of almost 3,000 volunteers who survey randomly selected 1 kilometre square spaces each spring, spaces to which they are given access. In this bill and others, my Lords, the House has widely canvassed the issue of litter in the countryside. But people can, of course, pick up litter as well as deposit it, and with significant parts of countryside litter being blown or washed from other places, they can help ensure the protection of wildlife and a more pleasant landscape by doing that. And the specific issue of fly tipping has also been widely canvassed in our debate. More pairs of eyes in the countryside will be both a deterrent to the fly tippers and increase the opportunity for them to be caught in the act on the handy mobile devices roamers are almost certain to be carrying. Now, I suspect the Noble Lord the Minister may respond that the government is reviewing public access to nature in the Agnew Review. I've been able to uncover very little about this in the public domain, and I'd be delighted if the Noble Lord the Minister can tell us more or indeed inform us later. But it was commissioned by the Treasury earlier this year, and the Chief Secretary to the Treasury, Stephen Barclay, has reportedly told Whitehall departments that he wishes to see a quantum shift in public access to the outdoors. Now, my Lords, for the reasons given in the earlier amendment, it's not my intention to push this to a vote. I regret the fact that our debate will inevitably be very much truncated by the hour, but this is an issue I will be returning to, and in the meantime I beg leave to move this amendment.
Amendment proposed after clause 136, insert the new clause